The Rat Park experiment, conducted by Canadian psychologist Bruce K. Alexander and his colleagues in the late 1970s and early 1980s, challenged prevailing views on addiction and substance abuse by investigating the role of environmental factors in drug dependence. Building upon earlier studies that used isolated laboratory rats to examine the effects of drugs like morphine and cocaine, Alexander sought to explore how social and environmental conditions influence drug-seeking behavior and addiction. In the classic laboratory studies of addiction, rats were housed individually in barren cages and given access to drugs like morphine or cocaine in self-administration experiments. These studies consistently showed that rats would readily consume large amounts of drugs when isolated, leading to the conclusion that addiction was primarily driven by the pharmacological properties of the substances themselves. However, Alexander hypothesized that the isolated and deprived conditions of the laboratory cages might not accurately reflect the complex social and environmental factors that contribute to addiction in human populations. To test this hypothesis, Alexander and his team designed the Rat Park experiment, named after the specially designed housing environment used in the study. Rat Park was a large, enriched environment that provided rats with ample space for social interaction, opportunities for exploration and physical activity, and access to a variety of stimuli, including toys, tunnels, and nesting materials. Crucially, the rats in Rat Park were housed in groups, allowing for social interactions and the formation of complex social networks. In the Rat Park experiment, rats were given a choice between two drinking bottles, one containing plain water and the other containing water laced with morphine or cocaine. Contrary to the results of earlier studies, where isolated rats consumed large amounts of drugs, the rats in Rat Park showed significantly lower levels of drug consumption, even when the drugs were readily available. Moreover, when previously drug-dependent rats were transferred from isolated cages to Rat Park, they voluntarily decreased their drug intake and exhibited behaviors indicative of detoxification and recovery. The findings of the Rat Park experiment challenged the prevailing view of addiction as primarily a result of the pharmacological effects of drugs, highlighting the critical role of social and environmental factors in shaping drug-seeking behavior and addiction. Alexander argued that the isolated and deprived conditions of traditional laboratory settings fail to capture the complexity of human addiction, which often arises from factors such as social isolation, trauma, poverty, and lack of access to meaningful activities and social support networks. The implications of the Rat Park experiment extend far beyond addiction research, offering insights into the broader social determinants of health and well-being. The study underscores the importance of creating supportive and enriching environments that promote social connection, psychological well-being, and resilience in individuals at risk of substance abuse and addiction. By addressing underlying social and environmental factors, policymakers, healthcare providers, and communities can work to prevent addiction, reduce harm, and support individuals in recovery. However, it is essential to acknowledge that addiction is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon influenced by a combination of biological, psychological, social, and environmental factors. While the Rat Park experiment provided compelling evidence for the role of social environment in addiction, it does not discount the importance of pharmacological interventions, behavioral therapies, and other evidence-based treatments in addressing substance abuse and addiction. Rather, it serves as a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of individual health outcomes and the broader social context in which they occur, emphasizing the need for holistic approaches to addiction prevention and treatment. And that wraps up today's video. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you have any questions or want to share your thoughts, leave a comment down below. Also, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Until then, take care.